Hello folks, I have something very interesting here for you guys. It's called templated applications. So this video here is going to be the first part in a series of videos where we're going to learn about the concepts of templated applications. We're going to build a templated application and we're going to learn how to build those templates. So to start, what are first template applications? Imagine a scenario where you can have a template which you can reuse over and over to rebuild different applications of the same type. What do I mean by that? Say, for example, you want to build a Spring Boot application, but you do not want to rewrite your basic or concept logics all the time. These logics actually find themselves repeating in all applications all the time. But now, since we are working in the agentic world where we have everything done by agents, we don't want to have agents do stuff which are not reproducible. So we have templates which are guided skeletal structures of how we want to instruct the agents to build the application. So we're going to dive into the concepts of what actually makes these templated applications. We're going to learn about templates, frameworks, rules, and design patterns without forgetting skills. So without any further ado, let's just get to it. So the first thing we're going to learn here are templates. So what are templates? Templates just refers to a factory or a scaffold of a project skeleton whose main aim here is to provide a structure or a foundational structure on which the application can be systematically built on. So they provide guidance to the assistant for him to know the structure on how to build the application and to have a reproducible and consistent structure in all the applications we want to build. Say, for example, you want to build an application and you have a particular structure which you love and which you have engineered and architectural, you have engineered that particular structure and you see it looks very good. And you want a new application to be based on that your engineered architecture and do not want any agent or any LLM to start building things from scratch or taking in wrong stuff and building your application on. So you actually want that same skeleton or that same structure to be used to build your application. That's actually what is called a template here. So an example of a template is this one here, the Pocket Flow template was. If you go to the Pocket Flow repository organization and you get to this repository, you're going to see how the template here has been engineered. So I'm going to share the link of this template in the description of the video so you can have access to it. So these are templates. So let's go to the next thing, which is frameworks. So frameworks here provide a guided structure in which the applications has to be built. So we've said here, template here provide a skeletal scaffold of the project such that we have our modules, our file system were arranged so the agent knows how to build the application from there. But this is still not enough to guide the agent on how to do the calls between the modules. So, okay, the structure already exists, but on which framework am I building the application? So in this our case here, we took Pocket Flow as our framework, and you could also take a different framework, for example, Spring Boot. If you're building a Spring application, you could take Oxum if you're building a web server backend, for example, that would be the framework you're using in your skeleton, that is in your template. So if you read the definition I wrote here, it says what? Frameworks provide guided, structured way for building applications. So templates are typically created on top of frameworks, and a framework can be a collection of libraries or predefined architectural designs that establishes the flow, constraints, and conventions an application should follow. It helps clients understand how to navigate and use a system effectively. Frameworks serve as the core guidance layer and often provide best test beds or toolings that clients use to validate the build applications based on the templates derived from the framework. Okay, that should be a bit mixed up in your head now. So we should understand here that the framework actually provides the guided way in which we build the template on. That is, the templates are built based on the framework. Nice. So this is an example of a framework here, the Pocket Flow framework. It's an LLM framework, and we're going to use this LLM framework in the next part of the video when we're going to be using our template, the Pocket Flow template Rust to build an LLM application in Rust. Nice. So what's the next thing we need to know about? The next thing we need to know about are called rules. So these are actually client specific, for example, and they are guidelines such as the rules you want our clients and to follow. There are conventions on the types, the best practices we've noted, and we have engineered that so that our clients should always follow that to build our applications. So any vibe coder now can use that template and build a very secured and robust application with precise guidelines which has been done for him already in the template. So we're going to see the structure here. For example, the diagram you see here shows the structure of rule code, how rule code actually add rules into the agent. So it's easy. You just have a .root directory, and in the .root directory you have a rules folder, and then you can now put your rules files in it. Either you have coding rules or you have TypeScript rules, testing rules, formatting rules, etc. So it's actually what makes the template robust. So far we've seen about templates, we've seen about frameworks, and we've seen about rules. So I hope till now you should be able to picture out what is being brought out already. So what does that looks already? So we'll go to the next important thing we need to know to build the template applications, which are called design patterns. Design patterns here provide additional structural support to template. They serve as reference solutions that clients consult when implementing new designs or architectural decisions. These patterns are often referenced in rule files and guide the client on the precise technical details and best practices for using an extended template effectively. They are usually written in design.mg files. Example here. The example below shows an example of a design.mg file where the aim of this design pattern or the design patterns implemented in this design.mg file is to provide more guidance to the agent when he's doing his implementation. So you can always reference this file, tell him that okay, this is an extra support to the template you have. So use the information of the design patterns we have here in building the application. So you see here in this skeletal design pattern here we have notes for the AI for him to read and know what to do. For example, you can have a requirement header, you can have a flow design header where you describe the flow of the application, and the agent can always reference that in order to do the best implementation you want him to do. So we're going to go to the next one here. The next thing to know now are called skills. So skills refers to additional knowledge or guidance provided to the client on how to implement specific features. These are typically used after the initial project code has been generated by the template and when new functionality needs to be added. That lies out of the scope of the framework. Example includes documentation files such as, for example, you want the agent to build a new functionality that was not in the initial design, or he does not have enough knowledge on building that functionality. Let's say you're a rocket scientist and you found a new way on how to do a particular solution. You can actually document how the steps or the approach you found on how to solve that solution and provide that in a skills file, and the agent will be able to read that skills file and do the implementation. This is actually something brought up by Anthropic. So this one is not from me, it's from Anthropic, and you can easily integrate that into your templates to make the templates more robust. So at the end, you will have a template here which is going to consist of frameworks, rules, design patterns, and skills. So with this template here, an agent is able to build any application depending on the template. For example, if your template was an LLM template or a template for building LLM application, the idea here is for any agent to be able to build any LLM application using that template in maximum 2 prompts. And it's not metaphor here, I actually mean 2 prompts. I did this myself and it works perfectly fine, and we're going to see that ourselves in the coming video. So I hope you had the knowledge on the 5 topics here we needed to know: the templates, frameworks, rules, design patterns, and skills. So you can always refer to the video in case you missed something or you didn't understand something well. And I'm very open to questions. In case you have questions on any of these, I will gladly answer. Okay, see you on the next one where we see how to build actually the template application. Ciao.